I appreciate you joining me. And this is what an old school told me. Respect is mandatory for those who have done more living than I have. And it bothers my spirit to hear and or see disrespect from those of my ilk and or youngins openly talking to said elders disparagingly. Some of these elders are alcoholics, drug addicts, factory workers from the steel mill days, physically limited. None of the aforementioned warrants disrespect, even when they disrespected themselves with their lifestyles. Key word, their lifestyles. Who are we to downplay decades of life experiences based on what we currently see? Who are we to decide the relevance of another? To the point that one harms another based on the outer surface of another's life? I never understood why this is, even when I was a youngin' myself. Around the early 2000s, I was going through the baby mama issues. All my fault. Not really, as I did not properly vet the chick. I wanted the family, but not all the whole shit, literally. Speaking honestly, that was my first experience with dealing with a whole type female. And what an experience. I was raised in the days and times where the family had dinners. No television, just conversations, smiles, cries, and support. You know, the old traditional family value systems that no longer exist in this particular society. And if it does, and when it does, should I say, it is few and far between. So to know what the true family value system is, and then to be in the company of another who knew nothing but family dysfunction was new to me. Now, as bad as what I was going through in a self-inflicted situation was, it became worse for the child. This is what bothered me the most about it all, as he did not ask to be here, and especially to have a low-hanging parent call mom, and all sorts of nonsense and undeserved drama in his young life. This is not hatred for females, but for trifling, greedy, and divisive behaviors that plagues black families. Now, what does all of that have to do with what an old school told me? There was this guy who loved his grapes, but also was a hard worker, doing odd jobs here and there. He did work for the building that we lived in, and he and I developed a rapport that was like father and son, like. Even though my father and I relationship it wasn't strained. We had a great relationship. And he would talk, this gentleman, and I would listen, absorb what was being laid down. He knew about what was in our household, as the mom would get caught hopping in and out of various vehicles well before I knew anything about it. It wasn't his place to say what he saw initially, but when I asked what would he have done in hypothetical situations, he then disclosed what he had been seeing in a detailed fashion. But rather than focus on that, He then began to tell stories of him and his old lady, his term, and how he increased his value and finally got into a far better situation. I tell you, with his info and my dad's input, it all worked out for me in the end. You know, throughout youth, it seemed that I was always around some old schooler doing his thing, winning. I don't know why that was. It just was. And me being thirsty for knowledge absorbed it all as it assisted me in becoming a man. This is why I have done the same for other young men, whether they want me to or not. Seems that I have become those old schoolers from back in the day, showing and giving examples of what power is from this level of manhood. Nothing beats that. Because when you are a man living as such, nothing is more powerful. And that's the reality.